Hey guys, welcome back to the next part of our series. Today we're going to be talking about the actual haircuts, and as you can see I have the head that we exported earlier. I believe it was for the eyes segment, and I'm going to be showing you how to create the elements here. Now the cool thing is you can see that we already have the skin assigned, which is really cool. We have the old textures here in this one. If we want to, we can just update it to the new ones, and we'll see the other ones, which I actually recommend in our case because it's going to allow us to, what's the word? It's going to allow us to make sure that we're using we're placing everything in the proper position. So is it this one? Yeah, there we go. Now the only issue here is that it's actually adding transparency to it, and we don't want that, so I'm just gonna break the connection there on the transparency, and there we go. So it's gonna be easier for me to know where to place the haircuts, for instance, for the eyebrows and stuff. Now for the actual haircuts, I'm gonna go to the front view. I'm gonna create a plane. I'm gonna rotate this guy 90 degrees, and I'm gonna assign a couple of materials to this plane. So I'm gonna go into my element here. Let's clean this up. Let's go to Maya shaders. Let's get that off. So we want usually a Lambert is just fine, and we're gonna import 2 file textures. So that's 1, and that's 2. The first file texture is gonna be the actual hair. So I'm going to go into images, and I'm going to grab remember the Targa file, don't grab the AXR, and we're going to grab that diffuse. So diffuse, open, there we go. And the out color is going to go into my color. And this one is going to be my transparency. Open, and the out color is going to go into transparency. Now, if we assign the material to this card right here, should be the number 2. There we go. The only issue is that Maya, for some reason, uses the transparency inverted. So you just need an invert node. Or I think it was called reverse. Yeah. So out color here, and then transparency here. There we go. Cool. Now I'm going to scale this down to roughly the size where I would imagine this to be. Just about there, I would say. Yeah, that's roughly it. Let's keep it here. Let's get rid of all the divisions. That's fine. And I know that this already works. Like, the only reason I created this element is to have the card. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate this guy. And now I'm going to go into the UVs for this guy. And I should be able to see the texture here. For some reason it's not showing. I should be able to see the texture. And what I want to do is I want to map this. I'm not sure if this is a visual bug or something. I'll show you the other technique, in case you can't make it work like me. So the other technique is actually very easy. I'm just gonna go into Edit Mesh, Insert Edge Tool, and I'm gonna start inserting edges with relative distance in the areas where I want to cut the element. So for instance, if I want to cut this big one right there, that's it. Let's get rid of soft selection. And now that you have one cut, you're gonna select the face, and you're gonna say Mesh, Edit Mesh, sorry, Detach, and that detaches the hair, which is perfect. Now, the only thing you need to be careful about here is you don't want to have as much wasted space as I have here. Please do not make the mistake of trying to grab this and pushing, because you're gonna stretch the texture, and that's not what you want. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go into Mesh Tools, Insert Edge Loop, and you're gonna insert one more edge loop really close to the border here. Like about there, right where it's born. And then you delete this face, because we don't need it anymore. This side, I think is fine. This one is a little bit too long. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna add one line there. Very careful not to cut the hair, or as not much hair as possible. For instance, that one right there. And there we go. The reason we don't want as much wasted space on the corners is because we need to position them properly. And I'm gonna do the same process for all the different cards here. I don't wanna waste your time of me just like detaching and cutting and stuff. That's something that's gonna take about 10-15 minutes, but I don't wanna make you suffer through it. I'm gonna show you rather how to place this and start combing and creating the hairstyle for a character. Now, if we check the concept, we need to understand that hair doesn't just like come out from the where is it? Oh, there we go. It doesn't just come out from the head. It actually has some sort of order, and usually we have like some sort of spiral. I would imagine that in his case the spiral is gonna be probably something like on the back side here. we call them, I'm not sure if they call them the same in English, but in Spanish we call them whirlwinds. And those are really difficult to comb because hairs are coming out in different directions. Like there's literally like a little twister there, like a little whirlwind that's placing everything. So we're gonna use this as our guide to start combing hair, because I know that there's a line that follows that little point right there all the way to the front, and from where we get like the front spikes going here to the top, and then we have guys going to the back, and we're pretty much gonna spiral out of this point and comb the whole hair so that we have a nice order to things. Now on this one I definitely need to split this, so I'm gonna go into object mode, mesh, separate. And now this one I need to add a couple of divisions, because just like this, just like a flat plane, it's gonna be very difficult to manipulate. So I'm gonna go into mesh, or sorry, edit mesh tools, insert edge loop. We're gonna insert one in the middle, and I usually like to go like this, 1, 2, 3. Now a couple of things I like to do. First of all, I don't like them to be super flat, so I always grab like the middle side or the middle section and move it forward to give it like more like a triangle look. And then I bend this guys like a little bit back like this. So pretty much like giving a little bit of curvature to the hair, so that it's not like a flat card, but it's actually a little bit nicer like that. Now one thing is, we're gonna be working in the smooth mode, because the smooth mode is gonna allow us to better place and visualize how the final cards are gonna look. We're creating this as a low poly. We're gonna smooth them out and then we're gonna reduce them. So in this case, I'm gonna move the point to the center point right there. I'm gonna freeze the transformations. Oh, sorry, freeze transformations. There we go. Let's change this to world so that it's easier to move in regards to the world. And we just position this. So again, I know that this line is gonna go all the way to the side and all the way to here. So let's position this guy right here in the beginning of the hairline. Now I think that's a little bit too long, so I'm gonna scale this down. We can also scale it sideways a little bit, like that. Number 3. And we're gonna get this in there. Like trying to get the little points to touch the surface, like so that it looks like the hair is being worn from that area. And the cool thing now is we can grab these vertices, and your secret weapons for placing hair cards is going to be soft selection, which is going to allow you to like move this and get a nice interesting look to it, and the general elements here. So that looks good. I like how I like the density that we have here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this guy. I'm going to move further back. And the way I recommend you do it is try to go for like the general shape and look first, because this is the first layer of hair that we're placing. There's like 3 layers of hair that we're gonna be placing. This is called the blocking of the hair, where we just block in the general shapes of our element so that they look nice. So let's check the reference real quick. So see, that's like the entrance point. So it's about there. So this one's a little bit too far in. And it's very important that you have your character's head here, because most of the things that you're going to be doing is going to be dependent on this. You need to decide, and this is also very important, what the viewing angle of your hair is going to be, because honestly with hair cards, it's very difficult to make sure that the hair looks good from all angles. So you're going to have to be very mindful of what your angles are going to be. For instance, I'm really thinking, and it's going to be super probable that happens, that if you look from the top, it's not going to look super good, because since all the cards are pointing out, it's going to be very difficult to give a proper volume from the top. But from the front and the side, it's going to look really, really good. So that's like the side I'm picking in this case. I'm going to duplicate this again. Get this here. And rotate it in. I want to know exactly where the entrance of the element is. The way you're going to continue with this is pretty much by duplicating the elements here and getting them to cover most of the areas of your character, like this. For hairstyles like the one that we have right now, it actually becomes quite tricky, because there's not a lot of combing to cover a huge amount of area. So we need to be very, very careful on how we create this, like changes in silhouette and stuff. For instance, what I'm doing here is I'm clumping the elements here, and you can, for instance, like twist this guys so that we cover most of the negative spaces there. See, so that way we create volume without actually having to have as many cards in place. Again, if you check the reference, Let me see if we can zoom in even closer. There we go. Most of the hair is going to the side, right? So this guys, that's one cool thing, is we will be able to kind of like push this guys right here to such a degree that we start combing certain of this some areas here. Now don't be afraid to grab like the vertices here on the bottom side and just like push them in. And again, self-selection is your friend. Like you want to have this sort of transition here. For instance, this guy, I think that one's fine. Maybe just grab a new one, place it right here. There's gonna be overlap. That's fine. Actually, it's completely normal, and it's gonna help us achieve a very cool look later on when we play a little bit more with the shader. And a lot of people hate doing hair. I personally, it's not my favorite thing to do in characters, to be honest. That's why you see so many monsters and aliens and stuff that are hairless, because it's normally quite complicated. Not complicated, but time consuming to do hair. And people tend to go or run away from doing it. But to be honest, it's a very well played position. There's people that nowadays dedicate themselves to strictly hair grooming, which is the name of the position in studios. So if this is something that you like and you enjoy, go for it. There's a lot of work for that. Okay, so let's get this in here. So I want to have a little bit of like a clumping on the front here, like a nice, see that? And as you can see, the opacity, this is my full opacity. Remember we talked about that concept earlier? That means that this should cover most of my head. Like people shouldn't be able to see the root of my hair through this particular elements. And later on, for instance, you can see here that we have this weird looking cross element, right? Well, that is the kind of thing that we're going to be fixing with all the remaining haircuts that we have. So I'm going to continue here, guys. I'm going to be recording the whole process as a sort of, what's the word, time-lapse. So that you can see how I go about positioning and accommodating all these haircuts. But just bear in mind that this is it's time-consuming. It's going to take you several hours, to be honest, to do it. But once you have the result, it's going to look really, really nice. So just hang on tight and keep pushing on your project. I'll see you back on the next video.